Welcome to Derek Paints Minis. In this video, I'm painting Lord Zedd from Renegade Games, Power Rangers, Heroes of the Grid. Before I get started, I'm listing the paints I'll be using in this video on screen. If you have a different brand but want to achieve a similar look, I've linked a handy paint color comparison chart in the description that should help you out. This Lord Zedd mini comes from the Kickstarter exclusive Deluxe box, which has been available as an add-on during Heroes of the Grid Kickstarter campaigns and occasionally on Renegade Games' website. I prepped the mini by removing the mold lines using the back of my hobby knife and smoothing out some spots with a small piece of 400 grit sandpaper. I'm careful not to damage any of the more delicate parts like his fingers and the Z at the top of his helmet. Without the Z, you might have no idea who this is supposed to be. After mounting the mini to a handle, I prime him in black using Badger Stynylrez primer and my airbrush. After the black primer, I add a small amount of gray from directly above to give it some early highlights. I'm using gray because I don't want him to be too bright since he's an evil character and I want a darker end result. If you're unfamiliar with this method of priming, it's commonly called zenithal priming, due to the effect simulating light coming from directly above, such as when the sun is at its zenith. Once the primer is dried, I start applying my base coat. I'm using a size 2 brush and Reaper Violet Red to cover Zedd's entire body, which is all exposed muscle, and his brain. Since this mini will essentially be just 3 colors, I want to take the time to make his features really stand out. It takes me 3 thin coats to get a nice even base coat while still allowing a bit of the undercoat to show through. In this video, you're going to notice me make some mistakes and try some things that don't quite work out. I didn't take those out of the video because I want to show you my process start to finish, even when it isn't pretty. I'll fix the mistakes later, and those things that didn't quite work out are just part of the process. With the base coat dry, I had an idea to try painting some more detail on the muscles. First with a darker mix of red, and then with black. I didn't like the way this looked though, so I chose not to continue with it. Next, I mixed a bit of Reaper Solid White with my red, and added some highlights to all of the raised parts of the muscles. These parts look like pink blobs now, but once I add black wash and darken everything, these spots will be painted over with red again, and hopefully pop a bit more than they would have otherwise. Just like with the base coat, I used a size 2 brush for all of this. I then apply a black wash using Citadel Null oil to the red surfaces of the mini with a size 4 brush, making sure to get it into all of the recesses and to cover all of the red, darkening everything and creating some depth. I go back to my size 2 brush in violet red and I paint over all of the lighter raised parts from before. This really brings out all of the detail on the muscles and helps build some contrast with the darker recesses. Moving on from the red, I start painting the tubes that run over Zedd's body with Reaper Dragon Blue. I'm using a size 0 brush and being careful not to get blue on any of the parts I've already painted red. I don't know if the show ever addressed what exactly the liquid in these tubes is, but I'm sure it's at least helping to keep Zedd alive. Makes you wonder why he was cool with all the tubes and his brain being so exposed. This blue is really striking against the red, but it's a bit too bright to leave like this. So using a size 4/0 brush, I apply a wash of null oil to all of the blue tubes, making sure to get most of it where the tubes meet the body, which will help them stand out even more. When the wash is dry, I go back over the most raised parts of the blue tubes to brighten them up and add more depth. I really like the effect that this creates. With the red and the blue finished, I move on to the silver. I'm using Citadel Stormhost Silver and a size 0 brush. I go over the whole model, including a part or two I shouldn't have, until all of his armor, helmet, metal diaper, and staff are painted. Metallic paint seems to get everywhere, so you'll see silver in places it shouldn't be, but I'll clean that up before I'm done. I'm trying to be really careful while painting the silver, which makes this the most time-consuming part of the paint job for me. When Lord Zedd was first introduced in Power Rangers' second season back in 1994, he was a dark, evil character that immediately drew complaints from parents worried that he was too scary. So he was toned down to make him a bit goofier, and the show even had him marry the original antagonist, Rita Repulsa. Which version of Zedd did you prefer? Leave a comment and tell me if you like dark and scary, or wacky and bumbling Zedd more. After the silver is finished, I go back and fix some mistakes, such as this tube I painted silver instead of blue, a part of the silver armor I missed completely, and the silver on the lower parts of his fingers. Then I move on to this mini's final wash. I paint null oil over all of the silver parts to darken them, but I focus specifically on getting wash along the edges where the silver meets the other colors. This will both add depth and help clean up some areas where the silver paint went a little further than I had intended. When the first round of wash is dry, I go back and add more to a few areas I don't think are dark enough yet. This really ups the contrast between the red and silver and gives him the dark look I want. I paint his visor with the same violet red that I've been using for his body, and clean up a few spots where the null oil darkened red and blue parts more than I wanted it to. I finished the armor by taking my Stormhost Silver and highlighting the raised parts in areas that I felt should be shiny. In my opinion, this is where the silver really starts to pop and the model looks like it's all coming together. Finally, I paint the base black to match the other villains that I've painted from this game, and he's done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there was something you liked, or if you have tips to help me improve, leave a comment below. Subscribe before you leave so you never miss a video, and thanks for watching.